Well, hey, good morning, all. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30-plus year video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today's December 2nd, so we're fully into Christmas if you didn't do it by end of Halloween throughout November. It is that time of year, and I love it. I love Christmas stuff. I even have it set up to where you can see the tree in the background here. Usually I'd have that curtain closed, even to hide people walking by, but that blocks it anyway. Oh yeah, so I'm missing the little doggy there. Just waiting for mom to get down. So she's just kind of chilling there. But yeah, hope everyone had a good, Black Friday weekend, whatever that might be. I know that I did take advantage of some sales. Not too much. I'm trying not to spend too much money. But I did get some Godzilla stuff, yeah. We might talk about Godzilla a bit today. I'll try to speak. Yeah, Christmas is great. My favorite holiday. Yeah, there's just something about it. I guess fortunate enough that as I was a kid, it was always, my parents always did the traditional thing, and it just always felt like a good time. Also, there's so many, days that you weren't going to school, so it was like this more freeing feeling where I could just divulge in my toys, whatever, video games, because I was the type of kid, and maybe most kids are, I just noticed my siblings and my kids aren't like this, but I loved getting toys for Christmas. So many toys that I would want to get all the time. I think there was even a year my parents were like, don't ask for toys, ask for like clothes, electronics, but it was just a thing. And then, I loved, opening the present, but sitting there by the tree after we've opened presents, and I'm just organizing everything that, for the next few days, the toys I'm going to be playing with are right here at the tree. I don't know, just kind of a cool, fun time. Hey, Talos Mobius, good to see you. Talos, there's something I wanted to talk to you about, so hit me up later, or I'll hit you up later. But let's see. Alternatively, I got the Smite Ultimate God Pack. Now I have all current and future gods for only $150. Yeah, Smite. That's something I never played. I know they did Ninja Turtles at one time, didn't they? Wow, I can't believe that game is still going on, and $150 seems pretty cheap. What did I get? I got, and I think I talked about this last week, I got the Sonic X Shadow generation, so we'll talk about that. I got a whole bunch, and this isn't even all of them. Oh, I almost did that before. Godzilla Blu-rays, because this is almost the best way to watch these era of movies, I guess mainly from the 80s to, before Shin Godzilla. Whatever that last one was, it's on here. And I've gotten through maybe half of them. And there's actually one in the Blu-ray that's two movies. It's with Mothra and King Ghidorah, and it's like as much as the PS4 Godzilla game because it's just out of print for some reason. Anyway, what's interesting about these movies is they have the English dubs, and they have like the Japanese version if the English dub was cut in a way. Which on HBO Max is just the Japanese release, which is fine. Some people like that, but I like dubs, especially watching something like Godzilla. But yeah, so interesting, Autonomous, that you're saying Godzilla 2000 with a heart. So I watched this over the weekend, and this was way better than I thought. It's like you still have to accept there's sort of a lower budget, especially like a movie in Japan. It's not a Hollywood film. But there was so much going on with this that made it work for me in terms of how they did the special effects, how they did the story. Even though, again, it's how I was able to get into Gundam later in life. It's where I'm able to block out judgments of things based on how it might look or appear and take it for what it is. And I'm able to watch all these Godzilla movies and like them, and 2000 is good. But I then watched the one that came after it, Godzilla vs. Angarius or something, I don't know. It was like the flying dragonfly thing. Now that wasn't good. And I've had no problem with the Godzilla movies, but that one, it had this very simple plot that it was really taking its time to, and not, I wouldn't say take its time, it was adding elements to it just to make it seem very much more than it was. And even my son brought up a point. He's like, what happened to the kid? Because the kid was featured. There's a kid that's featured in the beginning of the movie, and he kind of sets things up, but then you don't see him anymore. And it's an example of this: the movie's just inserting things just to move it along. Anyway, we don't need to make this about Godzilla, but I just thought it was interesting that I finally came across one that, wasn't really that great. Yeah, Megagurius, however you pronounce that. Let's see. GMK is one of my favorite movies. The One Time King Ghidorah is actually here. Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. I like the design of Godzilla on that. They made Godzilla 2000 literally despite and make up for that American Godzilla that flopped right before it. Yeah, it seems like it did too, because of how it was calling back to the original. Like it's like the original was the story, how it all started, and then it kind of ended with it. Yeah, I thought that was well done. And then I did get some. They're not here yet, but like the Godzilla store had a Black Friday event where it had like some rare stuff that's normally not available, and it was an SH Monster Arts Godzilla that was from Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which is one of the 2000s movies, and it was under 100, whereas these SH Monster Arts are usually over that, so that was pretty good. But anyway, let's dive into what I've been playing. So, yeah, to no surprise, Godzilla on PS3. I got another achievement. I'm just like going through the story again to get all the data things that I haven't got yet, which I don't know. I guess I could check in the game how many I have left, but the problem is I don't know how to go to the level you need to go to, because every time you play, you choose the levels you want. But so I have to, I guess, look up what the branching paths are to get to the level that has the data things I need. And it's funny, I didn't really play that many games this weekend. I didn't play that much. I think it's because we had other things going on Black Friday. We went out with the family. I think on Saturday we had a garage sale, and then we were kind of just like cleaning, straightening the house. I kind of redid my shelving thing for, I think on Gundam Explain, I'm going to do a video kind of showing the new shelving because I want to put out my Mobile Suit Ensemble. And then yesterday, what was going on yesterday? My wife wasn't feeling too well. We were going to go to the movies, but she wasn't feeling well, so she decided to chill, and then me and the youngest went. We saw Moana 2, which I got to say, I haven't seen the first one, but I think I have, kind of just for the fact that the kids always had it on when they were younger. But this second one was, okay, for a Disney movie, it didn't do the sad story thing, where it had to come up with a way to make you sad. It didn't do any of that. It was actually just a straight-up action movie, which I kind of appreciated. It was like, we got to get a team together and go find this island and fight this evil god. It was pretty good. Should have seen Wicked instead. It was bloody sick. Yeah, I don't really care to see Wicked. My son doesn't either, even though I recognize that everyone is saying it's good. That type of world, and I mean, hey, it was hard enough for me to watch Moana 2. It's just, they break out into song. I've never been into that I mean, when I was younger, I liked Disney movies, but I noticed it was once I got to a certain age, I stopped, and I even recognized this, and it's just, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's one of those things, betrayal. No, it's one of those things where it reminds me of this Godzilla and Gundam thing. It's like, I'm willing to keep my mind open for some stuff, but I think the problem, and maybe wanted to change that, but the problem with most of the Disney movies is they were purposely trying to make you sad, which, yes, I guess is the intent, but it's like, it's always, to me, it feels like an unearned emotion. Like, I didn't really earn that, so I just feel bad. Instead of, wow, that was compelling. Like, Wild Robot has a very compelling, moving sort of story with it. But I don't know. That could maybe I need to revisit some of these movies. What else did I play? Okay, so yeah, Stalker 2, I played 40 minutes. When I launched that game, boy, did it take a long time to compile shaders. That took forever. And I guess that's what games are doing nowadays, especially if you want them on the high-end graphical side. And then when I got into the game, it would freeze. And it would freeze for like I remember I was just sitting there, I was like, well, my computer is acting fine in terms of like hearing the fans and everything moving. It's just the screen isn't moving. And sure enough, after about a minute, a whole minute, then it went back into play. And then there's a part at the beginning I kept dying at, and I barely remember what happened. That's kind of sad. I think it like froze, or I think it might have froze, and I had to Alt F4 to get out or something. I forget. And then I was like, maybe I'll try it again later. I mean, I hear good things. I liked the first, even though I didn't beat the first one, I liked it and played quite a bit. Sonic X Shadow Generations, it's just fun. You know, I'm playing the shadow levels, and they're pretty fun. I like the layout. I like, you know, getting the 3 items, whatever they are, that allow you to then unlock artwork and music. It's like they're unnecessary, but they're things, they're goals for while you're playing each level. But it's not anything amazing. I don't know how to put it. It's like perfectly exactly what it needs to be. But I feel like, I guess the other thing too is the environments almost for the shadow levels so far. They're just kind of whatever. Like it almost doesn't matter what the environment is that it looks like I'm in. I'm just on this, you know, I'm just running real fast. So there's something about it where when you're Sonic, where they really take into account what the world is you're in. You know, Green Hill Zone. I guess for this, there was Space Colony Arc, Rail Canyon, and there's something about them that didn't really... Anyway, what I'm really trying to get at is Sonic X Shadow as an engine and as a platform for a future Sonic game, they should just be making all new Sonic games this way. And like playing Sonic Superstars last year was such a letdown that they just needed to do this. Just take this engine, take this artwork, and then just make new... I guess the other thing too is because I'm playing as Shadow, and I feel like it almost reminds me of that Godzilla movie I was talking about, where it's like introducing the story that there's all these like parts that almost like don't matter. I wish a lot of times they would keep the story simple, but then just focus on the characters, which I think Generations in general did, just so far not the Shadow part. I think the biggest difference is Shadow stages are darker and less flashy than Sonic Switch drew from more vibrant, lively stages. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. So that, yeah, the Shadow levels are very sterile and sci-fi, where I don't feel like I'm in or part of something. One thing, though, is I do recognize the music. They're taking, you know, the music from Sonic Adventure 2 and sort of adding to it, or doing, I wouldn't say a remix, almost maybe a remix, but maybe an iteration. So I do appreciate that. So I might just end up doing it where I go through and be, oh yeah, because I like that once you beat so many levels, there's these areas you can go into that have these other stages that you just have to pass, and then if you pass 2 of them, you get a boss key. So I've done that, but I haven't done the boss stuff yet. So there's a lot of cool stuff in there. It's strange that I've only played 1 hour and 1 minute, yet I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 levels maybe. I guess that makes sense because these levels aren't that long. This is the difficulty that the Sega and Sonic team have to work for, is how do you modernize Sonic, and that even means the length of the levels. I think that's why the bosses in Sonic Superstars are so annoying, because they made them where you had to like just wait for them to do certain animations things, then you go in and attack. So. Okay, Outcast, A New Beginning. Yeah, playing a little more of that. It's just a fun game. It's very simple, but it's very good looking, being in the world, and the controls feel great. But there's just not too much to it. And it's interesting because I think the main quest is really just dialogue with other characters in the world. And I'm just skipping that to get to then, okay, what is then the quest? And it was like, well, just walk these animals to the farm or something. It was so basic, but what's cool is running around in the game, destroying outposts, doing challenges, and it just feels good, especially with the jetpack system where you can fly around all the time, and then glide down, and there's still so much I can unlock that augments my abilities. So good game. And then yeah, we jumped into Call of Duty on Xbox. Although, let's see, when was the 28th? Was Thursday, and I did a show Friday, but I thought I played since then. Maybe not. But we were just waiting for the Christmas Nuketown to show up. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've been playing. Not too heavy on the gaming, really. I might get back more to that, I guess, depending on what's coming out. So yeah, that's a good point. Let's get to that. So video game releases for December. So the next thing, I know Marvel Rivals is coming out, but I just don't see myself getting into something like that. I think the next game I'm going to play or get is the Indiana Jones and Great Circle. That's December 9th. That gives me about, a week and a half to, and my plan is to finish Sonic, X Shadow, and Outcast. I think both of these games I think are short enough where I'll be able to do that by the time Indiana Jones comes out. And I guess I'm just saying that because these are games that I think I will. They don't require a lot of me, and I could just sit there and play through them and have fun. Star Wars Outlaws. I'd love to get back to that more too. I actually didn't play much of that recently, other than this past week. But I already beat it, so it's just like doing the side stuff, which there's no expiration on that for me. So getting back to this, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and then for sure December 10th is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Readers Rewind. So if I beat those games by the time we hit the 9th, then I can do Indiana Jones and Power Rangers and go back and forth. The thing is, then Alien Rogue Incursions, December 19th, which is a little further down. So by then, I need to either finish Batman Arkham VR, which is great. It's just so hard. Where's my VR? It's right there. It's so hard for me to remember, oh, I can play a VR game. I can, and then I have to get up and play, which maybe that's what I can do for my exercising. But also, I bought the Starship Troopers game. It's very interesting on the Meta Store, and maybe this is just coincidence, but I will go to look at a game, and it will have a little like coupon notification by the game saying I have like a discount code. And that happened with Batman. So it's like Batman, I got that nearly half off, I think, or maybe that was a different game. And then with the Starship Troopers game, I think it was like 30% off. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to try to play it today, but I'm excited to play Starship Troopers. Outcast is such a fun game. Yeah, tell us. It is, and I don't know if you ever played the original. That's how I learned about it, was the original like voxel-based game, and that was cool for its time, but I like how they kind of retained that look in a way. Ultronus, man, I forgot Power Rangers Readers Rewind is around the corner. Yeah, and I think it's like on sale on Steam, but I don't know if that's just the price for when it comes out. Tales Moves, the games I'm looking forward to for 2025 are Monster Hunter Wilds and Transformers Reactivate. The latter I have high hopes for. What is Transformers Reactivate about? Because I know they came out with the... interesting. There's a 1 to 4 player online action game developed by Splash Damage. Interesting. And even published by Splash Damage. Okay. This could be interesting. It's just, yeah, 1 to 4 player online action game. I mean, that actually sounds pretty neat because it's not saying it's a battle royale. It's not, asynchronous. Let's see. Play the real. I had gotten deer fruit. Oh yeah, Transformers had the cool trailer, but I'm waiting for actual news. There should be a trailer on YouTube. You should look into it. Yeah, let's see if they had. Well, I don't want to get updates. His Splash Damage is a well-known developer. Okay, here we go. Yeah, third-person action. I'm already digging that. Oh, doing it transformed. So, if it's PvE, 1 to 4 player action game, that could be pretty sweet, actually. Because that's all I'm really looking for, are these games that would be single player, but making them multiplayer. Okay, that wasn't a lot of gameplay, but that was enough to kind of get an idea. So if we look at splash damage, yeah, Brink, Arkham, or Brink didn't survive, but I think that was ahead of its time. Batman Arkham Origins, Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. I want to say they did more. They did like the Enemy Territory games with Wolfenstein and Quake, yeah. And then they did Arkham Origins, Dirty Bomb. I remember that. See, they were ahead of their time with their games, it seems. They helped with Gears 5. They helped with the Master Chief Collection. So this is just a good technical studio. And I guess it's not like they've come out with a lot recently, but they've done a lot of good work. So, yeah, too bad with Outcasters. Google Stadia. Stadia is another example of something ahead of its time. That's very interesting, how this developer has kind of been on the cutting edge of like what to do with games, especially in the multiplayer arena. And then they get on the Google Stadia, which I think was ahead of its time, and sort of delivering. Like, I played the Hitman 2 and 3. I think it was 2 and 3 on Stadia. No buffering, no it seemed like I was actually playing. It was amazing. And then they had this Outcasters game that because it just got shut down. So interesting. So that's pretty cool. Good information there, Talos. Let's see. Yeah, they have plenty of experience. So, yeah, yeah, going into January, I'm just looking ahead. Like, I already know I'm going to play Dynasty Warrior Origins, and Jedi Power Battles re-release. Oh my gosh, I played so much of that back in the day. But anyway, yeah, that's December. I think I need to do like a year in VR, because really getting the MetaQuest 3 and playing a bunch of these newer VR games, since I used to have, the Quest 2, the PSVR, the games didn't pull me. There was some cool stuff, but nowadays I think the VR really does pull its weight. Okay, so moving on, some other interesting stuff. This link doesn't work anymore, but there was a trailer for a canceled Lego James Bond game. So it's interesting that they were going to go that route. Lego James Bond. I mean, I guess if you think of what is the Lego sort of gameplay loop, and there's a lot of combat at the end of the day, a lot of shooting, and James Bond would do that. And then building, I would just think building his cars. Otherwise, very interesting. Was there some neat news when I was coming down here? Let me look just real quick. There's a new Dead by Daylight killer coming up. That game just keeps going. Let's see. Okay. So here's some information I thought was very interesting. This has to do with Valve. So Valve is working on Deadlock with updates including changes to ragdoll physics, localization shaders. Yeah, there's that game, which I kind of don't care about. But Valve partnered with a tech startup specializing in realistic natural environments, possibly for Half-Life 3. An original Half-Life 2 developer rejoined Valve to work on an unannounced project, possibly Half-Life 3. So if we get, that makes sense when you're working on a sequel and you get some original creators behind it to kind of help, keep in line with its vision. I think that's the issue we see a lot with modern IPs getting sequels, is they don't have some of the original creators, and so they kind of lose the plot. But okay, just seeing realistic natural environments on here. So it's not like that can't be done. Source Engine is very well, unless this is the idea to like fully upgrade Source to kind of do a play off of what Unreal Engine 5 has been able to do, and that's pretty much generate instant realism. But when it says realistic and natural environments, part of me thinks how much of that could be maybe the way a player is interacting with the world. I think Something that was big in the late 2000s, early 2010s that kind of went away was destructible environments. That was really big. Like Bad Company, I think, really paved the way for that to be a mainstream feature, yet games haven't really embraced it, I don't think. And I feel like there's more that can be done there. Just, chipping away at the environment, the ground, rocks. I feel like games could incorporate that stuff a lot more and to make it sort of second nature, just kind of like physics. Half-Life 2 did that with physics. Now games just kind of have physics. Physics are just a thing that's there. And I think that could happen with these natural environments. But I'm actually just guessing, because it just says realistic natural environments. Valve accidentally leaked internal Steam VR builds. Oh, yeah, we saw that. VR ARM ecosystem. Let's see. Anything else interesting? They have the new Quest-Lite controllers, Steam Controller 2. We saw that also. I'm not too interested in any of that. It's funny, even talking with my brother over Thanksgiving, he was telling me now how third-party controllers are the way to go. First-party controllers are just not as good as a third-party controller. He got the FlyDigi Apex 4, which is the one that I have with the LCD screen, and then FlyDigi also has the the Vader 4 Pro, the 3 or 4, amazing controller. And then I have, the Logitech Tarantula, GameSir Tarantula. And then there's the GameSir Cyclone 2 that just came out that I almost bought that I was like, Adam, you've got enough controllers, you don't need to do this. But that's why I guess the controller thing doesn't matter to me too much. Speculation from Tyler, Half-Life X, possibly Half-Life 3 related project, may incorporate assets from Arty, which was ported to Source 2. Arty could be revived as a tech demo for Deckard. So I'm not familiar with Arty. Let's look this up. It's a musician, huh? So let's do like Valve, maybe? No, let's do an Artery Valve. Okay, Arty game development. Let's see. Oh, spelled that wrong. No, and then it did Party. Oh my, okay, Arty. So it must be some thing with making video games. I don't know. So that could give me more information. Just couldn't find anything on it. Anyway, that's interesting stuff. Oh, hey, Steven, good to see you. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of chat that I missed. They manually programmed the destructible objects in Metal Gear Solid 2. It's crazy to think how game development, there was a lot more work, and nowadays a lot of it is automated. But then we're not going back to revisit some of those things, like I think destructible environments. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Okay, I thought this was funny. So this was Polygon rewatching the 2004 Spike TV Game Awards. What's interesting is that Snoop Dogg was a host of that. And why that's interesting to me is because even today, just recently on Fortnite, there was an event where Snoop Dogg was playing, or his music was playing, and he's a skin in Fortnite. It's just very interesting to me how times haven't changed a whole lot, and I think it's this sort of mainstream thing, right? Where if everyone knows of someone, Snoop Dogg's just got that marketability about him, and it's because he's always been, as far as I know, like a cool guy. You never hear stuff about him and bad stuff about him, so it's just kind of interesting how it's like the same, and then just seeing some of the stuff going on during that 2004 Game Awards. I kind of miss those times too. Again, there's a lot of mainstream stuff going on in there, which I think was fine, but it was also, I don't know, video games being celebrated to that degree was still kind of new. So when it came to, there was less of mainstream gaming, and it was just more of mainstream pop things to wrap around the gaming side of things. It's cool, for, and I don't know what would be a good example of the Game Awards talking about games today, that would be like, oh, that's neat that they brought that game up or this game up. But nowadays, when we see the Game Awards stuff go on, it's a lot of the obvious stuff, maybe. I don't know if that makes too much sense, but let's see. And I think that was actually it for today. I might scroll through the news here real quick to see if there was anything else going on. I think it's just kind of slow with, the holidays. Okay, that's a cool picture. What game is that? Oh, Neo. I never beat Neo 2. Neo is an excellent game, by the way. Neo 2 is pretty cool. It just does a thing which I don't care when games do it. It's like, okay, now where you are, there's an alternate dimension you could be in. And then you can go back and forth. Like, sometimes I feel like that's just a very surface level way to add to a game. But Neo, the first Neo, I don't even think I've beaten the first Neo, and I've played. Actually, let's look it up. Let me see if I can look that up here. Neo. Okay, I messed that up. Neo. Okay, so yeah, interesting that between PS4 and PS5, maybe added up, so 60, 78, 60, 60-something hours, which I feel like is a lot for a video game, especially an action game. And yeah, and look at the trophies. That is very interesting. There's different trophies between the two. And yeah, I did play some Neo 2, 7 hours of it. And and I think 7 hours is a good amount to know if you like a game. But yeah, compared to 63, 64 hours of the first Neo. Great game, by the way. Great game. And then they did the Rise of Ronin that came out recently. Actually, they did a game, about a year or two ago. It was like, it had a name similar to Wukong. And it was like okay, but it was like more of the same. And then they did the Rise of the Ronin just came out, which, as much as I want to get it, their games end up coming out on PC anyway. So it's like I'd rather just get it on PC down the line. So, let's see. Never forget, Snoop was final boss in Def Jam Fight for New York and was OP. Yeah, I played that a lot, but don't remember that. See, because we hear about it via social media before the main outlets have their reviews and such. Award shows used to be like a last-ditch marketing effort. Oh, you haven't played the game of the year or watched this Oscar-winning movie yet? Now it's just repeating the same stuff we already know. Yeah, it is. It is, and it's especially when it's like picking what's best, because I feel like at the same time it's like, well, like you would have to like really specify your categories with video games if you were gonna go with what's best, because like best direction, game of the, like what makes a game of the year, I don't think you could do that anymore. The same reason why Warner Brothers and Sony have two CEOs. You can't nowadays things are just so big where you can't have one way to define something. There's just, I think it's more about a celebration of a collection of things rather than this one thing's the best. That's interesting. A little analogy there. That, with awards, it can't just be one thing's the best, just like when now movies and video games are being made, it's two CEOs, because there's two different aspects to look at these things. Anyway, I think that's about it, guys. I gotta head to work. Oops. Well, didn't mean to do that. After this weekend, I wonder how busy work's gonna be. I already know there's stuff I gotta get done for work, so I might be a little busy, but it also might be slow in terms of people not pinging me all the time, so that might allow me to focus. So looking forward to that. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back tomorrow. So see you later.